So as we enter into this time together to enter into our offertory, as we take this collection to help sustain Unitarian Universalism and this congregation, I have some meditative words from Reverend Robin Tanner that I came across this morning for us to reflect on as we enter into this time of gratitude, about what it means to be here in America, safe, what it means to have a community of care that we can come to when we're feeling otherwise confused or disillusioned or scared. We come here this month, we've come here and we've laughed together a lot. We've cried together. And I just am thankful for this community. I'm thankful for UUCGV. I'm thank you for Unitarian Universalism. And I'm very thankful for all of you. And so let us just take in these words from Reverend Robin Tanner. Pray to be brave when fear is catching you. We have to be brave because of the children. She is clear-eyed, flushed, and leaning against the steel column in a subway station. One child sleeping against her leg, the older boy staring, round brown eyes, fixed on his resolute, rosy-cheeked mother. Pray to be clear to speak truth. She offers sunflowers to the Russian soldier. Before she curses him, she reminds him that he will die for a dictator who asks him to betray his humanity. Before she curses, she levels her eyes to this young man to remind him she could be his grandmother. She, unarmed, ready to fight. Take this truth. If you will die here, remember the flowers will grow again. Pray to endure when the waves crash over your head. My grandmother's hands, Ukrainian hands, always with a long, slim cigarette, even as she moved the hand mixer and sipped cold coffee. My not understanding the meaning of chocolate cake with raspberry sauce until this moment. Staring generations forward at the rosy-cheeked mother, the weary lines that hid a world war, and the endurance in the ocean of grief to mix, bake, find life in depression. Pray to resist even if your name will never matter. Ordinary people under a fascist, ordinary people who in a moment grabbed a coat, made a sign, and stood in the public places, knowing they will disappear, die without fame or name, and who resist because someday they will say, not all the people were silent. Pray to love enough to cry and kiss the head of your child, filling their pockets with sunflower seeds as they board the last bus out of town. Hands pressed to windows as one last ritual of love, because we know we may not see the sunrise, but someday when the sunflowers bloom, they will return to harvest seeds again, to feel the warmth of sun and to sit quietly before the arching open bursts of yellow that mark the memory and prophecy. We have to be brave because of the children. Pray for peace, yes. Pray for truth also. Pray for endurance, amen. Pray for resistance. Pray to remember that love that can never be bombed, obliterated, or silenced. The children, the flowers, and the sun return. Robin Tanner. With our hearts of gratitude, we will now receive today's offering. This congregation is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to its life, we affirm our lives within it.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
I'm not a politician. I'm not a military strategist. I'm not a world historian who understands the intricacies of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine right now. And so, in that respect, I'm wholly unqualified to talk about this conflict. But I am a minister, and we are a faith community. And we come together on Sunday mornings to think about and talk about and reflect on events larger than any one of us individually. And so, in that respect, it is my responsibility to be here with you today to address what's going on in the world, even when I don't totally understand it, even when I have no answers. And so today I do not stand up here at all as an expert. I'm here with you as we work through these circumstances together. So here's what I do know. As a world, we are connected. And we are connecting more than we ever have been in human history. My daughter, who doesn't ever have the TV on, but she always has her little phone in front of her, has been showing me TikTok videos all week of what's going on in Ukraine, because people in Ukraine are posting TikTok videos in real time. And I think instead of actually learning her math or listening to her math teacher, she's texting me updates about what's going on, which makes you wonder what she's doing in school. But I can feel that there is a deep sadness in the collective. And there's anger, and there's a sense of helplessness when a tyrant can get away with blatantly invading another country, and the rest of the world stands and has to watch. But perhaps this is where we can find hope also, the hope that collectively, as a humanity, we are waking up. Recently, somebody referred to the number of people who are starting to have a different paradigm of the world and awakening spiritually. They referred to this like blades of grass started kind of popping up all over the world. They're kind of just this new consciousness, I think, is popping up everywhere. And it's not something that a top-down tyrant or anybody can squash, because as we begin to wake up to who we are as human beings, to wake up to the heart in all of us, that these children that we just saw, this little girl that we just saw this morning, they understand the heart in a new way. And that is where my hope is. My hope is in these children and in these teenagers that see through all of this and have no problem saying, I don't care what we're being told. I'm going to post on TikTok right now what's really happening. And my friends in other parts of the world, because they now have friends in other parts of the world because we are so connected, will know what's going on with me. And they, even if they can't do anything right here, right now, they're watching and they're seeing and they know what's going on and they're not okay with it. And I believe that the hope comes in this because it is a change in consciousness. It is a change in humanity and how we as human beings are beginning to understand ourselves and the world around us. And so the story of the lady walking up to the Russian soldier and handing him sunflower seeds so that something beautiful may take root when he dies. It was a form of defiance. And if you look at the actual video, she wasn't being very nice. She was mad. But all you have to do is Google it and you can see this video. It was a form of defiance at a much deeper level that maybe that soldier will hear or understand, and maybe not. But she was not willing to say, here you are, come do what you want to do to my country, to my people. I'm not going to just go away. I'm right here in your face, and I'm telling you that there is something that sustains well beyond what you are doing to us right now. And so I do believe in the reading I read this morning, if there is to be peace. I've read it numerous times throughout the years, and I actually have the whole thing memorized, but I believe that there is truth to that. If there is to be peace in the world, it gets smaller and it gets smaller and it gets smaller until it is in each one of us needing to take the responsibility to be the peace in our world that we want to see. And it does start small. It starts small. It starts with, like that little girl said, between her mommy and daddy, who probably are getting a divorce, are probably angry at each other, are probably having this anxious energy with each other, with themselves. And this little girl saying, no, you need to get grounded. You need to get steady. You need to get steady, mommy. Because when you get steady, then maybe daddy will get steady, and then maybe I'll feel steady. And then it goes from there. And so while something so simple that says it has to start within can feel sometimes a bit naive, I think that there is a deep spiritual truth to that. And I believe that when we start to internalize that spiritual truth and we take it to heart, literally to heart, and we start changing our own individual lives to be the living expression of that peace, it has to change the world because there is no place else for it to go. If we are all steady and strong in our own hearts and our own emotions and our own interactions with ourselves and our relationships, it has to spread because the anger and fear and the hate will not take root in us. And so today, as I stand here in America, safe and warm, and having just had my coffee this morning with the creamer that I like because I still have the ability to get the pleasures in life. And I think, well, what can one voice do? What can one person do? What can we in this little town, Grand Junction, Colorado, in the United States, do when a country across the world is being invaded by a superpower? It can feel helpless and it can feel hopeless. And then I remember that we're connected, that my daughter knows what's going on with teenagers in Ukraine right now. She's not here in this room, but my guess is she's on TikTok watching these videos, and she's learning in a different way than we were raised with. But what is happening is the consciousness is changing because we're interconnected. And I believe that at some point, we will begin to internalize that interconnection, that empathy that feels like it has been lacking for the last few years. It has to come back. And I believe it will come back. I believe it is coming back. And it can't be theoretical. We're the ones that have to make it come back. We have to bring the empathy in to our own lives, to our own hearts, so that it can expand. We can either be sharing fear and anxiety and hopelessness and helplessness, or we can be sharing peace and steadiness and love and compassion. We can't change what's going on in Russia with the planes and the bombs, but we can be changing how we in our own lives respond to conflict on a smaller scale when it's impacting us. Because if we learn how to deal with it on our own individual small scale, it becomes a larger scale. And so that's what I'm thinking about today. Where is the hope? Where is the optimism? There's a lot of work to do. But I realize if the people around me have the ability to generate anger and hate, I have the ability to generate peace and love. And so this morning, instead of stressing out about what words I was going to stand up here and say to all of you, I sat down for a few moments and I imagined that woman speaking truth to power to that Russian soldier. And I listened to that little girl speaking with such love and compassion to her parents. And I thought about, what can we do in our little part of the world that can help be a solution? Is it time to possibly, truly, and intentionally give peace a chance? And so that's what I'm thinking about today. That's where I am. And what I'd like to do is open up the conversation a little bit to all of us, because there's a lot of wisdom in this room. There's wisdom here in the room in person. There's wisdom in the rooms on Zoom. And so I think it might be nice for us to just share our own wisdom, share our thoughts, share our insights with each other. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to unmute, allow people to unmute themselves. And if you are here in the sanctuary, I would invite you, if you'd like to say something, it would be easiest to just go ahead and come up and talk in front of the microphone, in front of my computer, so that people can see you and the people here can hear you. So I'm going to go ahead and allow us to unmute ourselves the way that it works. We haven't done this for a while. If you would like to say something and you're on Zoom, go ahead and unmute yourself, and I will then go ahead and invite you to say something. And then it looks like we have Floyd, who's one of our veterans, coming up to speak to us. So we'll start with Floyd. Come on up, Floyd.
Good morning. I'd like everybody to look at today's Daily Sentinel, which had to be put together a week or so ago, but Bernie Busher has put together a list of people in this community from both parties that are saying we must get together, which to me, he is a very known Democrat, but the first people on the list are previous Republicans who are now unaffiliated. And then there's a list of community people of about, I don't know, it's a whole page of people that have signed on to this.
I
So
think we have some of our members on that.
I didn't take time to look at it, but it impressed me this morning. Then the other thing is all sports organizations have stopped dealing with Russia. All the bars have stopped serving Russian vodka, which I did not use last night. I had local domestic vodka. So I think there's positive for all of us. The war, we'll see where it goes, but let's think good things.
Does anybody on Zoom like to say anything? David, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the most challenging part for me in all of this is staying connected to what's going on over there and having a sense of empathy and compassion for the people with what they're going through, but not be overwhelmed by it. It is definitely one of the most difficult things in my life is to stay connected to what's happening in the world, particularly when it's something as devastating as this, and still be able to continue on in regular life. And goodness knows I don't do it perfectly, but it is one of the things that I think that we as individuals and as a congregation, we need to know how to be both supportive, but not be overwhelmed.
Thank you. Janet, go ahead.
Yeah, I think a really important thing for people to think about is connectivity. And what has happened with the COVID issues is that we have separated ourselves out of necessity. And because of that, I think we separate ourselves emotionally. And it is very, very hard to be empathetic if you're separated. And I think we just need to focus on being connected. And if TikTok is the way to do it, God bless TikTok.
Thank you, Janet. Angie, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I also saw the 2 pages wide list of names that people who had signed on to try to open the conversation between people. And I really support that.
Yeah, I mean, really, there's so much in the world, and our experience for the most part is what we put our attention on. And so we can put our attention on all of the negative and the fear, and it's there. But when we do that, we forget that there's also a lot of really positive things happening. And there's people creating music and writing poetry and coming together and praying and meditating. And so we can't, it's a both and. So when we get overwhelmed with what appears to always to be more negative, remember that we have people behind the scenes in Grand Junction putting together full pages of people actually wanting to come together, which Grand Junction, that's a pretty big deal. So Monty or Elizabeth?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, about what David said, and kind of take it down into more of a bodily reaction, because most of you know that I have a spinal cord injury, and my nervous system is really strange, and it gets really fiery at times. It's like pins and needles, and so when I get anxious, I can really feel it in my body. So I know that what I have to do to take that anxiety and sort of at a bodily level, and just really focus on peace and letting go of that anxiety. And if I'm feeling it, I know all of you are feeling it. So if you can make it a conscious practice to really feel that emotion in your body and let yourself feel it, and then just kind of let it go or replace it, or with peace, it really helps me anyway.
Thanks, Monty. It looks like Lance is coming up to say a few things, so.
This morning, I was reading the Daily Sentinel, and I came upon the pages, 2 big pages full of names that are saying what's happening in our world. I don't want that to happen. I'd like people to know that war is the most stupid thing that humans can do. And I started reading the names of all of those people that were on there, and I kept thinking, darn it, I wish I knew that this was an avenue and I could say something. And I got 2/3 of the way through, and guess what? Lance Oswald, Margaret Oswald were on there, and I thought, thank heavens. And it's a wonderful way to speak out, but thank heavens. And it's another wonderful way to make you aware that it's good to go forward and don't have to wait until you see, oh, somebody thought about me and put my name down too. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. And I'm looking at the time. It's about time for us to sing our closing hymn. It's not really a hymn, it's Paul, some of his beautiful music. He found us right about a year before COVID, and he used to come and offer us music in person, and we need to, as we're opening up, invite him back to be in person. But for now, he has a beautiful song that he shared with us before, but we're gonna close with his Sending My Love to the World. The lyrics aren't written, but it's really easy to catch on to. So let us just get into that kind of that place where we can intentionally together as a community send some love into the world.
Sending my love to the world. love in my heart. I'm feeling this love in my heart. I'm feeling this love, feeling this love. I'm feeling this love in my heart. And this love that I'm feeling keeps on healing and healing. I'm feeling this love in my heart. I'm living this love that I am. I'm living this love that I am. I'm living this love, living this love. I'm living this love that I am. And this love that I'm living keeps on giving and giving. I'm living this love that I am. We're sending God's love to the world. We're sending God's love to the world. We're sending God's love, sending God's love. We're sending God's love to the world. And this love that we're sending is a love that's never ending. We're sending God's love to the world. I'm sending my love to the world. I'm sending my love to the world. I'm sending my love, sending my love. I'm sending my love to the world. I'm sending my love to the world. I'm sending my love to the world.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitments. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Peg, will you please sing us out?